Most people would just think like you put out a book, so they would probably think like, oh, okay, it's just like, it's really easy.
Yeah, and people don't understand the process of it. They just think it's just like, wave a magic wand and it's just boom, boom. It's definitely like a lot of different steps.
Yeah, I think people think like, oh, okay, you wrote a story, so like what's the hold up? I think people don't even think about like from story to illustration to production. And I think production is really like a key component. Like I think like there is three, right? There's the story, there's the illustration, but then there's the production component. But I feel like the way it's set up, the two can't live without the third. Like you have to have each component, or it just becomes a disaster. Like I don't think what you do could be done by your average Joe on his laptop. Like who's on my team? And I think with our relationship, like it started so organically that we kind of skipped over like the process of like looking through all that stuff.
Right. Like, yeah, you would think it was probably through networking or something, but yeah.
Yeah, it was just like,
different.
Yeah, it was, I think it was nothing like that. And it ended up where we didn't even bond over like work at all. Like, it was just like,
yeah, I didn't even know you were creative at first.
Yeah, it was just like, oh, this girl just like, she in school, I think it was in grad school, right?
Right.
And so I think that's kind of cool, because I think even when I was writing the book or when I was working on the paintings, I don't think either one of us knew like really why I was doing what I was doing.
Yeah, I remember even doing the Hobby Lobby thing and taking that painting class.
Yeah, I remember we took a watercoloring class and like we were so broke. So being so broke, we literally take this watercolor class and it's like they didn't put a price on it, so we thought
we thought it was free.
So we were just like, and he was like, oh, you owe me, and we were just like, oh well,
got you next time.
Like, gotta go. Sorry. And I even remember like paying for paints and paying for like just a drawing pad. It was, I remember, I think stuff was like $10, $15. It was like, nigga, damn. Like, shit, like it's a price. That's a real number. Like just like that level of poverty at the time. Like,
especially struggling like how we were struggling. It's like, you waste some money on some paint.
Like you tripping, we gotta eat today. Like you can't afford to be getting paint right now. Right. So I think that's one of the things about like being creative too. Like, so I guess like to speak on like just that starving artist mentality.
Right,
like,
you gotta take those risks.
Like you do have to take a creative risk and then like be understanding like I'll starve a little bit today. Right. So I can eat good tomorrow.
Right, I have a vision. Like
yeah, you gotta. I think when you're creative, like if you're not gonna bet it on it, if you're not gonna put that check on it, like let it go. Like I really don't think it's something where you want to cut corners.
Right. You gotta definitely be passionate about it and just. Once you're in it, you gotta go all in for it, because there's no giving up or putting
even like when you don't know like where it's going. Because like remember, I feel like you would come over, and I would just be sitting like in the middle of the living room floor.
Yeah, just the paintings all over the floor.
And you're just like, this is like.
I'm like, what are you doing?
And I'm like, I don't really know. I just want to just see what's go happen with this. And so I think that was kind of cool. Like just the process of like. You watched me kind of create the whole, like from the beginning to the end. You was
from
like
the
really
very beginning.
We was like really in the broke as fuck, like really like, all right, how we gonna figure out? How we gonna make the pool today? Like,
I got some black eyed peas. I can cook them up.
But still like, and then like you know like still making it happen. So I think that's like one of the interesting things about like being creative and. I think people always think it's easy, and
definitely not.
Or it look easy, especially because people like see you on the internet, see you.
Yeah, and they see the finished product.
They see the finished product, and it's like, oh, okay, it was. Yeah, of course she did. Like,
it was
of
just
course.
a smooth process.
Like, oh, you're. I feel like people always gonna be like, oh, but you talented though. Oh, you blessed though. Right. Or your life different though. Like,
I know when I redrew this 25 times.
I was like, like I feel like when you would come over, it would be like so many sketches on the floor. Of like, this got thrown away though.
I messed up right here. The paint, especially when you had to learn the technique.
Yeah, because everybody didn't know what I was doing. I think you even did one, and you was like, bro, I'm not doing this shit.
This is harder than I thought. I'm thinking I could just paint, not knowing, like, okay, if I put too much water, like, it's literally bleeding throughout what I try to do.
Oh, yeah, we made your trees, and you was like, I thought you didn't pick up another paintbrush afterwards.
No,
you was like,
I didn't. Because it was perfect, but then I kept going back, and I just fucked it up. I was like, damn.
And I think that's funny, too, because I think when you're creative, right, like, we always think, like, oh, but you can, right? Like, you can just go through different mediums. Like, for me, like, I'm very much a hand-on person. Like, I can sketch, I can paint, but, like, I don't really like to go in and do vectors and layers and, like, design. Like, that's not something I want to do.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think people always think, like, oh, you can do this.
Right.
It's like, bitch, I can't do that.
Yeah, because I'm like, yeah, I can do stuff digitally, but then when people would give me this painting or something, be like, I want a design that looks just like this, and I'm like, okay, well, you need an artist. I'm not an artist. Like, I'm just a graphic designer.
I think that's something people, it's like, it's hard to try to explain, like, the different roles and the different niches.
Right.
And so I think the way we came together was kind of like organic, and it worked. And it's like, even the fact that because we started off bigger, like, so it started off with like, oh, we got a publishing company, and I just got to make, like, you wasn't even really on a project. Like, it just started off with like, okay, I'll just fix this and fix that. And then so, but it comes down to like, it got messed up, and I was like, I have to find somebody like I trust with like my vision, like this person. And I think that's when it comes down to like those like organic, those real relationships where it's like, yo, this person didn't take care of my vision. Right. Like, and I need somebody to resurrect it.
Yeah. Yeah, that says a lot though. Like, it is hard, especially with something as creative. You know, it also ties into spirituality, and it's like something so spiritual I put my blood, sweat, and tears into just for somebody to carelessly just not care about how it comes out.
And I think that's one thing I would say for like any, or like I'll say musical artists as well as like writers and stuff. Everybody want to go and get with the machine, right? They want to go get with the publishing company. I want to get signed. Yeah. And then you get signed. Like in my case, I'm signed, and I'm like.
And you can't really make the music you want to make.
You can't make the music you want to make. You can't do the visions you want to make. Right. You can't even really hire the team you want around you the same way you can when you are like free. And I think
independent. Yeah.
I think for me, this was like a learning exercise, and I had to really learn, like, hey, like, because of who I am, I do like a lot of control over like my vision, even the way I package, promote, who I can put on my team, who I trust with my little brainchild. I think that's a part of it. Like, you have to like mom and pop it. Like, it can't
be. You have to be real hands-on with it.
And I think a lot of times people are like, I'm gonna get with the machine, and then I'm gonna be cool. Right. And I think they end up finding out like it's not.
It doesn't work like that.
It's a lot more freedom and just like working with people.
And building your team. Yeah. Like, kind of come up with the people you started with. Yeah. Because it does, like, in the end, it's like everybody can eat instead of like you're the little guy trying to reach out to the big guys when you could just all come up together.
And I think that's the dope thing about like everybody can eat, like, because I think when we were talking, it was just like listen, I want you on this project, but like also future projects. Like, let's just create like a dream team situation, rather than a lot of times we like trying to very transactional relationships. Like, what can you do for me now? Right. And I think that's what people mess up with networking a lot of times. Like, well, what do you do now? And not really
help me.
Yeah, help me, benefit me. And I think with our relationship, it was very much like, what do you need? Okay, let me see what I know. And let me get you what you need. Yeah. And I think that's kind of like the difference. I think we always kind of came at our relationship on a like, let me give.
Yeah, like just helping each other along the way.
Yeah, like, oh, okay, I know how to do this. Let me show you how to do this. Right. Or I know somebody that's gonna put you on, so let me put you with that person. And I think those type of attitudes where it's not like competition. Right. And I think that's the hard part. We always get jealous of somebody else's movements, or like trying to fake it, right? I think that was another thing we did differently. Like, we never tried to pretend like I ain't got it. Right. I don't have it.
Not trying to stunt.
I ain't got $5 today. Like, listen, like, I ain't got it. Like, it was just very, and And I think when you can kind of like have them relationships and you really take care of them relationships and like you be honest and stuff, like those are the relationships you really want to have when you do business. Like you don't want to have one where you have to like, let me act like I got...
Yeah, or put on a hat, like put on a different persona just because you're around this person. When you, like, yeah, I just don't like that when you can't be yourself around somebody.
Yeah, like even like with these like jobs, like going in for 8 hours a day, and it's like, dang, that's a long time to be performing. Exactly. This is not who I am. Like I don't. Exactly. Like I don't want to perform, and like I don't want to be on these people's stage anymore.
Yeah.
And so I think that's like one of the better things about like working with a friend, and like, okay, now we in business together. Okay, now our success is in our hand. Either it's gonna blow,
yeah,
or it's not gonna blow. But like,
if you don't, just keep going.
Yeah, like bend it all on black. Like just keep, just see what blow. Like just make another one. Like do another one. Like see what happens. And I think like I was listening to something. It's like you gotta just go through all the process of it. I don't think it was a part of the process that was skipped. In this, like the poverty was there, like the stress,
every little struggle story you can think of.
Yeah, like anything somebody telling you, like, oh, I had to, like, yeah, it happened, like it happens, like, and I think that's the part, like producing from beginning to end is like that resilience.
Right, because you learn so much along the way. Because sometimes I know, what year was that? 2017. Yeah, it was just like, why am I going through this?
Yeah,
but now I look back and I'm like, I learned so much.
Yeah, I think 2017 was like definitely like foundational. Like I think that was the summer where I actually wrote it and illustrated all through that summer. But also just a summer where I had to really figure out like what was important to me. Like, cause I think it was like a time. Cause I think I was really broke, but we could have got jobs. Like it was like we could have got jobs. Yeah. But it was something like nah.
Right. I was like at a point where like if I want this job. If I can't get this job, I don't want a job at all.
Right. Like it was like we was very much in a place of like I'm not sacrificing.
Yeah, I'm not settling. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that was the attitude of that summer. It hurt like in that moment. But like in the end it became like what like brought us through, because we really was like, I'm not gonna give my 8 hours away for $80. Like I can't give it.
Exactly.
Like, that's a lot of hours.
It is, when I could just sit here and just figure out like what can I do, especially being creatives. You could think of something, and working for ourselves is that's a blessing when it comes to being a creative, because you could always kind of find work.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, as a creative, you trust in your hustle and you feel like you can find work, I think. And like also like just like the spirituality of it, like the way God provides, like, cause we did not know, like from day to day, we were just like, alright, well,
if I could just get to tomorrow,
I'm gonna figure it out tomorrow, and then I'm gonna move. But I think that really kind of created like it strengthened our bond and our relationship to where we could do stuff.
Yeah, and it did make you kind of go harder, because say if we did get everything we wanted, I probably wouldn't have the drive that I have today.
Right. It just, sometimes it's just like that level of entitlement. But like, I also think like because you were like right there through my writing process, you were right there through my drawing process, it made sense to me to be like, well, let me reach out to this person I feel like you watched me design. Then I felt comfortable giving you like, all right, you know, kind of what I'm doing. You saw what I was planning, so all you gotta do is kind of bring it back together. Right. And I think
it's
that
like
was kind of cool. Yeah. Like, cause you can't really just say, all right, this person. You know, you can't just pick any, like, I need a beat. Like, I think a lot of people, like, artists be like, I need a beat. They just go to, what producer got a beat? And it's like, it's not like that.
Yeah,
it's
not at all.
That
definitely
simple.
A chemistry involved.
Like, every author has it right. Every author has a way. Every illustrator has a way. And then every designer has a way. And, like, if you can't find a way for those to interact cohesively, like, it, no matter how talented I am or you are, it's just not going to come together.
Yeah, it's not going to work at all. Yeah, you definitely have to have that bond to create anything.
Yeah.
Just like you said with music. Like, anytime I watch an interview or something, they're just always talking about, I got to get the bond first. The vibe has to be right before anything.
Right.
So you always need like the right people, the right team to execute.
And so speaking of the vibe, like I would say a lot of the work you put in was during quarantine.
Right.
So like what was your process like? 'Cause I didn't even get to see.
Yeah.
I didn't see anything that you did.
Yeah.
Like so, which is interesting. You saw me do everything, and I was just like, all right, can you fix this?
Yeah. Yeah.
So for you, like, what do you think like your process was like?
I just really took what you had and was like, okay, you did the artist part of it. Now I need to make sure the digital part and also your paintings, like, complement each other.
Right.
Because even, like, down to the fonts, the colors, and since it's called Fuzzy Socks, I was like, I need, like, a fuzzy type of font.
Right.
So that's why I found that little, like, hairy kind of fuzzy font.
Yeah.
And then I just picked a lot of the colors out of your cover page and made those the colors of the words.
Right.
So it looks pretty similar, even though it's painted. It's like the colors still translate well digitally.
Yeah.
And just trying to find fonts that are, childlike fun and not just something I just put together.
Yeah.
Because since I saw you work through it and I understand like what you're looking for, so I was like, let me just really take my time. Like most of it was really just finding the fonts and just making sure everything was laid out and centered. Because some people could just slap things on a page.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to like.
Oh, it looked like it's just like words on top of a painting, and I'm like, ain't nobody want to see.
Right. So I'm trying
to make it like one cohesive project is like a job, and I think that people don't think about that when it comes down. Like you can't just slap.
Right.
Because it look like it.
Yeah, and it's nothing you could just do in like, in 30 minutes. You really have to sit down and think about it, especially when it's multiple pages, lots of words.
Right.
So you have to figure out how to place everything on a page, make sure it looks, it's consistent.
No, yeah, I agree. So I could say like, though the illustration process, I think I went to that illustration process very unaware of like what I was doing at all. And so I feel like to me as the artist it's like obvious, but then to you, like you were able to still figure like it's cool, even though, cause I think for this one it's like they very much individual paintings.
Right.
Like they don't look like couplets or look like pages. But the story is there. It's just not it's not the layout that you would typically expect, right?
Yeah, but it was still different because it's still coming from like, this is still your baby. So it's like, whatever you did was fine as long, I feel like that's what the graphic designer's job is to just make it come to life. Yeah. And I think that's the kind of the fun part of my job is just making sure whatever you give me, I can make it look good. Right,
like produce it into like the full on effect.
Right.
And so I think that was like some of the challenges we faced, like just coming from a place of like, we definitely moved in trial and error.
Yeah.
Like everything we did was like, all right, I don't know, like this is my first time. Like, we're gonna see, like let's try again.
Yeah.
But I think for this next project, because we have so much more control, so much more like opportunity as far as like, I understand a little more what layout gonna look like.
Right.
You understand a little bit more like how design, like illustration should be. Yeah. So now coming together, I think we're gonna be able to do.
Yeah.
Like some like more dope.
Yeah, way better. Yeah, because I'm so used to doing, like I've done magazines and stuff before, but I haven't done anything like editorial, like books or anything. So this was something different, but still very fun, and I learned a lot.
And I think like even this time we could be more whimsical. We could play with font a lot more.
Yeah.
We could play with color a lot more. Like we can really bring like different aspects of the work alive just because we have so much more creative control. Like by being independent of like a signed on machine, we get to move freely. And it's like our work, the vision we want in the world is like solely in our hands.
Right, like down to the paper.
Yeah, the paper quality.
Yeah, like the size. Like you don't have to follow like a template. That
I think when I said like I really don't want to deal with this size.
Right.
And we was both like, yeah, like why this size?
Right. It's like I don't have any options.
Yeah, it was like we had to squeeze and squeeze. So I think now it's like, well, if I want to do a fucking jumbo book, I can do a jumbo book. If I want to do a notepad, I can do
a little book.
So I think that's like one of the cool things that I'm looking forward to on the next project, which is like the way you're gonna get to play with font, the way we left a lot of white space for you to get more time to like, all right, I want to make this word kind of tumble down the page rather than to everything to kind of line up the same way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was something I was really interested in, like making sure, like, because I think that's the part of, like, I think font is, that's not Steve Jobs, that was his shit. Steve Jobs was like a font crazy person, like he was into font. But like he wasn't wrong, because I think font really tells the story in itself.
It does.
Like I hate when I see like something in the wrong font.
Mm-hmm.
Like they will write something and it's like that's not the right. Like you'll see it'll say like Black Girl Magic, but it'll be in like the blood dripping font, and you'll be like, that don't make sense. Like the story don't connect. Mm-hmm. And I think people just overlook. And I think it's because it's a lot of font options.
It is. It's too many, but yeah, you can still. It is a lot of sites, and you could basically search by category. So that's kind of what I did for you. But I guess with the title was easy. I was just like, I want a fuzzy font. I know it's got to be out here.
Right.
So I really just Google searched it and found the perfect one. But as far as the actual text within the book, like I didn't want to use like a old English font or nothing like that.
Right, like the way you, because I think font even have a way of like telling a story.
Exactly.
Like, so I think that's one of the cool things you get to do is like, all right, how do I want to continue to emphasize these words?
Right.
Like even in poetry, you'll notice like they'll use how they place the words on the page is a part of the story.
Yeah.
And I think all of the design elements that go in are just as essential as every other part of the work. Like I don't think it's a part, like I even had people say, well, I'll just pay them a upfront fee and be done with it. And it's like that kind of to me shows how you don't respect the work that person doing.
Right.
Like
it's so careless.
It's like nah, like to me it's like you on a team, let's get you a page, like let's figure out how we could to spread the cake, how we can make sure everybody eat on a long-term level, because I think what you do isn't just a flat rate. Like in my opinion, I feel like that's a level of work and detail and commitment that should get like long-term royalties just like anything else. Right. Because I feel like you put yourself in a work. Like I think that's one thing people kind of do or overlook with designers.
Yeah. Especially when it comes to even like copyright, and because not only with that, it's like people also steal a lot. So
I think that's a lot of this other from a lot.
Yeah, so it's like you just gotta make sure, like even with the font, somebody had to create that font, so you have to make sure you have a license for everything. And like I know, like even like with Nike, I think they paid that girl like $30 to do that logo, and she didn't even think about
the rest of her life not knowing.
Yeah, like this is the biggest brand in the world, the most iconic logo.
So what would you say, like knowing that?
Yeah,
how do you feel when you like?
Yeah, so now I'm like, hold up, like wait, I just don't want to get paid. I want royalties.
Yeah, because I think how do you? Because I knew what I thought you deserved.
Yeah,
but it was like I'm not gonna just tell her.
Exactly. Yeah.
How do you feel about her money? So I was like, do you want a flat rate or would you just enjoy getting royalties?
Yeah, and I think sometimes people can only think for the now.
Yeah.
They just want probably the money, the quick $300-$400 now, and they don't think about in 20 years you could.
And I mean, even like I think I was talking with the publishing company, and they was like the way they willing to like mishandle like a creative is like hilarious to me, because she was like, I was like, I want to put this person on my team. I want to divide my pie with this person. And they was like, why? You could just pay them like $400, $500.
Wow.
And it's like,
wow.
The way, and it's like, I feel like a lot of artists would sell their friend out for $500. We see it all the time. Like you see it all the time how people get just a little bit, just a little bit out the water. Yeah. They be like, shit, fuck them. I'm finna swim, and it's like, damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, and I do think as the designers, they should. It is a responsibility on them. You should know that. So if you do get ripped off and turns around 5 years later, they're like a millionaire, and now you want the money. It's like
you can't.
Yeah, like I get it, but you should have thought about that when you actually did.
Yeah,
the design.
Or like, and I think that becomes a part about becoming a creative, but also a business person.
Exactly.
Because you have to learn. I think that's one thing you have to do both. I don't think it's smart for you ever to turn your career into like a manager's hands, into a company's hands, into like nothing. Like if I like to, like for me, I need to know how quickly the paint dry.
Right.
I need to know. I want to know the. I be trying to ask you questions. I be like, so the size, and I be like, I really don't understand, but I'm gonna ask.
Yeah, let me explain these terms.
Like because I just think it's important. Like when you're doing business, everything you don't know costs you.
Right.
And it was like even the way I was like, I want to kind of share my profits, and she was like, well, you should just. And it's like she doesn't know, and it's like,
wow, yeah,
dang,
that's
like,
crazy.
Yeah, but I think that's like typically like how you see a lot of like music artists break up. You see a lot of managers break away from people because they not getting. It's like you came up a little bit and you forgot.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you don't say nothing, they're not gonna say nothing.
Yeah, it's like wow.
It's like it's really like I'm like they need to change like laws or something. I feel like it's like the biggest scam.
I think so too. And I think that's one thing I had said to you. Like I wanted to do this. So I think I was like, for me, it's like if I'm the artist, you're the producer. Like it's not gonna get done without you.